Good evening. So we are continuing with the Bhagavad Gita, where we had ended yesterday. It was all about Arjuna telling Krishna that he should not have called Krishna by some derogatory manner, like Hey Yadava, Hey Krishna. And it was not right on the part of Arjuna to say these kind of words to him. After that, he had given an idea that Sri Krishna is the highest, the best, so on and so forth. Today we are going to understand what is the benevolent form of Sri Krishna which Arjuna would like to see. So this is a form which is totally different than that Virat Swarup we experienced in the last week. So let us see what form Krishna is going to show Arjuna. So we are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita Chapter 11, verse 45 onwards. Having seen your wondrous form, which was never seen before, I feel transported with joy. At the same time, my mind is tormented by fear. Pray, reveal to me that divine form, the form of Vishnu with 4 arms, O Lord of Celestials, O abode of universe, be gracious. Now, after seeing that terrible form of Krishna, Arjuna is requesting Krishna, says that, see, I have seen that form. It was such a humongous, such a big one. And I was very happy you showed me this form. Now, can you just tone it down to the level of the form of Vishnu? So what does it tell us over here? It tells us that Sri Krishna can don any form he feels like. Did you get the point? In the previous form of his, which is what we call as the Virat Swarupa. The Virat Swarup means Virat means vast. Virat word itself means vast. The vast and the huge and the humongous and the unending form of his, in which he had exhibited so many multiple forms. That means he had shown not only a form with, like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, everybody was in it. And there were demons and Rakshasas which he was chomping away. So this was a very different kind of a form which he had exhibited. And that form had put a lot of fear also in the mind of Arjuna. See, when we see a kind, mild, benevolent, good form, we are not scared of that person. You understand? If you have to see, let us say, you have to meet a guru who is such a mild-mannered person, and when he talks to you nicely, you don't see that form of his which is angry, isn't it? Now you will find that other form also exists. Now in case of Samartha Ramdas, Shivaji Maharaj's guru, he not only had a very benevolent and a kind form to exhibit to the world, but he also had a fierce form. Now in this fierce form, he would be sitting atop a tiger. He would be sitting on top of the tiger and roaming around in the jungles. So it was a very strange sight to be seen. Imagine you face a tiger right in front of your eyes. You will be scared. A tiger is a big animal, of course. And similarly, if you see Sai Baba, naturally when you look at his picture, he appears very mild, very simple, and doesn't exhibit any kind of anger or anything like that. But his form of anger was like Narsimhadev. Eyes were burning. He would take anything, even a stick, a stone or whatever, and he would run after that person, whomsoever he felt like. Most of the people in my world have only seen a mild form of mine. It is not good to see that dangerous form, because that is something very, very powerful and very fearsome. Now that is something which we should not experience. It is good to see a mild form, right? So that is the reason why Arjuna is requesting Krishna to show him the Vishnu avatar. The Vishnu avatar with the 4 hands. I am sure you have seen that in many of the temples. There is Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma in the 4 hands of his. And that form is very mild looking. He doesn't have any kind of an anger anywhere. But if you have seen another form of Vishnu, like say for example, Parshuram, I am sure you will not be able to face him, because he is really very terrible. He's a man mountain. He's a big, huge person, smoldering eyes, terrible gait, carrying an axe, which is normally what is shown. But in today's day and age, if you were to meet him, he is more than 6-7 feet in height. Quite a tall person. He is an eternal form, remember this. And being an eternal form, he roams around everywhere like an avduta, but dressed more like a village person or like a forest dweller. My Gurudev's form is very mild to look at, which is Dattatraya's form. He is also an avduta, but his form is very benevolent, very kind, compassionate. Even his younger version, if you were to see his form, it is very mild-mannered. His speech is very simple. But Parshuram's form is terrible. You will not be able to stand in front of him. I mean, just imagine yourself being around 4.5 feet or 4 feet in height and standing in front of Kali, that big, wow, WWF person from Punjab. He is a quite tall fellow. Imagine like that. Your state is going to be like that. Naturally, you will be scared. Parshuram's form is massive. More than 7 feet, I think. Huge. Terrible. Like in the case of Dattatreya and others, or Krishna, who take multiple forms, Parshuram doesn't do that. Parshuram maintains his form. Alright? Now let us come to another form which is terrible. It was a very tiny form for a very, very short amount of time. A very, very tiny blip in the time frame. And that was Narsimhadev. The Narsimha form appeared for a very short duration, only for fixing Hiranyakashipu. That's it. But a body of a human and the, of a half animal, half human being with claws and nails, the teeth and stuff like that. So it was a terrible form. And he had blood dripping all over the place. Very dangerous. Just recently, I was told that one of the Panditjis, one of the Pujaris, is a quite a nice person, asked me whether he can present me with a couple of amla trees. I said, fine. And then he said, can I present you with an audumber tree? Now, what is an audumber tree? It's a kind of a ficus, it's a plant which is quite a massive one which grows. Now, the audumber tree has a great significance. You will find that Dattatreya sits under an audumber tree. Okay. Now, audumber tree is there even where Narasimha Saraswati was. Narasimha Saraswati had gone to different places. Narsova, Chivadi and so on and so forth. And everywhere there was an audumber tree. If you go to even Akkalkot Swami's place, there is a very beautiful audumber tree under which Swami Samarth sat down. Swami Samarth's form was Narasimha's form only. His previous form, if you remember, was called Narasimha Saraswati. See the name, Narasimha Saraswati. And later on, Swami Samarth. So now if you actually go through this whole history, you will understand audumber tree is important. For which form? For the form of Narasimha. Why was it so important? It is because after Narasimha killed Hiranyakashipu with his bare fingers, the nails, that demon's blood was so strong, corrosive, that it was burning his hands. And there was no way in which he could, remove that kind of a burn. His wife, Lakshmi Devi, she was there. They call Lakshmi Narasimha, if you know. She was very much there, and she said, there was a tree over there. She removed the small tiny berries kind of a thing. It's a fig tree. So the fig, it has got those tiny figs, not the figs that you eat. These are the very tiny figs that are there. So she removed them, crushed them and put them on his fingers. And when they were put on his fingers, it cooled him down, Narasimha. The avatar, which is a Vishnu avatar. And that is the reason why that tree was blessed. So these forms, which are very terrible in nature, like Narasimha's form, audumber tree has a significance in their life as well. So when this Panditji told me that he's going to give me an audumber tree, I smiled. I said, okay, form, very nice. So you want me to cool down, is it? So it was a funny thing anyway. So here Arjuna is telling Krishna that I want to see that mild form of yours, the Vishnu avatar of yours, with the 4 arms. Another small note. The 4 arms which hold these 4 things, which is called Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma, if they are rotated in a particular format, the form changes. You have to understand this. You see, even in our normal life, if there are twin brothers, okay, one is a right-handed person and one may be a left-handed person, correct? So think like that. So the form of Vishnu, which changes hands, like Where now Shankha is there, the Shankha will change to Chakra and so on and so forth. So here Arjuna is requesting him to show that benevolent form of his. So now we move to the next verse. We are doing chapter 11 from the Bhagavad Gita, verse 46. I wish to see you adorned in the same way, with a diadem on the head, holding a mace and a discus in two of your hands. O Lord with the 1,000 arms, O universal being, appear again in the same four-armed form. Now here, let me tell you that Arjuna had never seen Krishna in a four-armed form. Right? The form which existed at that point in time was a normal human form with two arms only. But this request is for the four-armed form. That is why it is called the Vishnu form, the Vishnu avatar. So I wish to see you adorned in the same way with the diadem on the head. You will find that that particular form has a diadem on the head. There is a kaustubh over here. The two armbands are there, and he has the Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma in his hands. So that is the form which he is talking about. O Lord of 1,000 arms, O universal being, appear in the same four-arm form. So he is requesting Krishna. He says, Krishna, now that you have shown me this Virat Swarup, now you have shown me with thousands of arms of yours, can I see only this four-arm form of yours? Right. So we move to the next verse. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita Chapter 11, verse 47. Sri Bhagwan said, Arjuna, pleased with you, I have shown you through my power of yoga this supreme, effulgent, primal and infinite cosmic form, which has never been seen before by anyone other than you. This particular form, which he is now going to close, Shri Krishna is now going to shut that particular form, which is the Virat Swarupa, has never been shown to anybody. It is said that it was shown once before, but let us not go in that direction. Shri Krishna is telling him that I am pleased with you. See, in the previous so many verses, Arjuna is bowing to him, praying to him, completely touching his hands and bowing again and again and again, and appeasing to Krishna for mercy and saying that I am really very scared of this form of yours. Can you please come down to your regular form, of this four-arm form of yours? So Krishna is telling him that I am pleased with what you said. I am pleased with whatever you have uttered so far. But this particular form, I have never shown it to anybody. Never. This particular form is only through the power of yoga. Today in the morning, I was reading about a few things in an update somewhere. At that point in time, I saw people talking about all kinds of conspiracy theories going on. Even in the news today, you will find that one person talks about conspiracies going on, somebody else is putting down another person. Everybody is conspiring, everybody is deceitful. Like, they keep on looking at it. And these people were talking about how different conspiracies take place. Not only in politics, but in daily life as well. So everywhere there are conspiracies. So when they were talking about this, I was just thinking how the world is getting deluded. These conspiracies appear real to people. Imagine there is a conspiracy between two communities, between two human beings, between two nations, between governments, you name it, everywhere. Between the secret agencies that are there. There are so many conspiracies. And you are a human being who is caught in between them because you read a lot. You always love to read and take sides. And you feel that there is the conspiracy there against. So I was just wondering. The conspiracy appears real to them. It appears real to these individuals. They are educated people, highly educated, in very good positions, and yet when they read about these things, their blood boils. And they believe in the conspiracy. See? Everybody, all these people, they believe in the conspiracies. So I wrote, Maya literally helps them. She says, oh, you believe in these conspiracies? Let me make them real for you. And Maya then creates an illusion which deludes this person and makes that appear so real. So when a person asked me this question just a few days ago, says, but they must be real, isn't it? I said, of course they are real if you believe them to be real. I said, it is made for only idiots like you. Did you get the point? If you believe in something, the Divine Lord's Maya creates that object for you. And it makes it appear like that. Think about it. That thing will appear totally true to that person. Suppose a mother has got 4 children, okay? And there is one child whom she says, you are my number 1, you know. What happens to the rest of the 3? Oh, mummy is taking him as number 1. Rest of us are nobody. It happens in my world also. People consider themselves as whatever they feel like. For the others, it appears as real. Because Maya is so strong, she creates these illusions in the minds of people. Maya is very, very strong. She is the power potency of God. Krishna himself, that is what he says. It is with the power of my yoga. I created this form for you. Only Arjuna has seen this form. That means nobody else has seen this form. Arjuna wanted to see that grand, great, humongous, wide, name it, whatever he wanted to see. He wanted to see something like that. And so Shri Krishna, with the power of his yoga, created that form. It's the same thing when the mother treats one child and gives him maybe food to eat, something little extra. The other 3 children feel, oh, mummy is taking sides. She is more, that is her favorite child. And that child also behaves exactly like that. Yeah, I am mummy's favorite. The rest of you are useless people. And this is the way how it works. In Krishna's world, there is nothing like favoritism or anything like that. He doesn't even give a damn. Why would Krishna give anything to anybody? For him, everybody is one and the same. Because he is the maker. He is the ultimate. If he has to praise, he will praise himself. Why other people? He just expects, you should praise him. Why? Because he wants to see whether you are worthy of it or not. That is why in the previous verse he says, I am happy for you. You see, I am pleased with you. If you praise Krishna, he is naturally going to be pleased. So you keep on topping it up all the time. He is going to be pleased with you forever. Okay, don't worry. But if you do something against, then it is Maya. He is not responsible for any of those nonsensical activities. He says, with my power of yoga, I don't care about it. But my power of yoga is nothing but Maya. Okay? Maya is the one who creates. It's illusory. So with this power of Maya, the supreme, effulgent, primal and infinite cosmic form, which has never been seen before by anyone other than you. That is what he says. And he is right about it. Why would anybody want to put their hand in the mouth of this person? If you really want to see the form of Krishna, you should always say, I want to see the most mildest and the most benevolent form of yours. I don't want to see that horrible form. I don't want to see the Virat Swarup also. Why would you want to see that Virat Swarup? And that is why it has to be only seen in a milder format. So, Krishna is telling him, I showed you this form, okay, which I have never shown to anybody else. Did you get the point? And that is how it is. So we now move to the next verse. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita Chapter 11, verse 48. Arjuna, in this mortal world, I cannot be seen in this form by anyone other than you, either through the study of Vedas or by rituals or again through gifts, actions or austere penances. Let this be known to everybody, that this particular form, that Virat Swarup, can never be seen, never ever be seen by anybody. Because you may study the Vedas, you may go and, become a Vedic scholar and you can see God literally. They say, I got the Sakshatkar of God. Okay, you can get the Sakshatkar of God or whatever you want to. Doesn't matter. So you may get that Sakshatkar, you may see some forms, you may see that Kal Bhairav or whatever form that you want to see. Okay. All those forms are Maya's creation. Did you get the point? Every form is Maya's creation and Maya is Krishna's Maya. So you want to see Brahmaji? Gili gili choo, and Brahmaji will come and stand in front of you. It's your own imagination. Did you get it? You imagine a form and that form appears for you. So this form is so unique that it is literally like only exclusively meant for Arjuna. Okay, that is what he says. So if somebody says, I am doing the Vedas, I am doing the rituals, and I am giving you so many gifts, I am doing these actions or austere penances, so show me this form. You think Krishna is going to show him? Krishna doesn't even care about these kind of things. That form was just for one person. It's like I said, the illusion is created for every individual. Every individual lives in their own illusory world because they are judgmental. Human beings judge Krishna constantly. That is why it is very difficult to find the right person in my world. See? Who can be anointed as the right person? Everybody is judgmental. Everybody jumps to conclusion. Everybody is driven by Maya. They keep on seeing things and they want certain things. I want this, I want that. This is mine, that is mine. They keep on talking like this. And Krishna is humoring them by telling Maya, okay, show them. Okay, show them that form. But this particular form, Virat Swarup, that is not worth seeing also. So don't even bother asking for that form. So this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Alright. So now we will go to the next verse. Okay. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita Chapter 11, verse 49. Seeing such a dreadful form of mind as this, do not be perturbed or perplexed. With a fearless and a tranquil mind, behold once again the same four-armed form of mind, bearing the conch, discus, mace, and lotus. Now, Krishna is now telling Arjuna, he says, yeah, you saw my dreadful form just now, isn't it? Very good. Do not be perturbed or perplexed. Don't get upset about it. Don't bother yourself about it. Just calm down, calm down. Okay? And here Krishna is telling Arjuna to just calm himself down so that he can now show him the four-armed form of his. So the form which he wanted to see was this four-armed form, with conch, discus, like I told you, Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma. These are the forms. So we move to the next verse. This is verse 50, chapter 11. Just a moment, please. I'm sorry, there were some people standing outside. Gardeners were talking outside. So there was the disturbance. So let us come back. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that I will show you this particular form. So now we will go to the next verse. So we are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 11 verse 50. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus to Arjuna, Bhagwan Vasudeva again revealed to him his own four-armed form. And then assuming a genial form, the high soul Shri Krishna consoled the frightened Arjuna. So now Shri Krishna is showing him the four-armed form. He says, now who is telling these sentences to? Sanjaya is talking to Dhritarashtra and is giving what we say as a commentary on what is going on over there. He is able to visualize the whole thing. And he tells Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is blind, if you recollect. Now he is telling Arjuna was then able to see the form of Krishna in four arms. So with the four-arm form of his, Arjuna was able to visualize him. Now when we look at this kind of sentences, what does that tell us? That Krishna has the potency to create in whatever aspect that a person would like to see. Now, this is a spiritual discussion, so I will give you something to do with spirituality over here. In every human being, there is an essence of this divine Krishna. Right? It is within you also. Now, when you have this particular ability, the potency within you, you never tap into this potency. What you actually tap into, human beings, they have a tendency of tapping into the Maya potency of the Lord. Maya is called the illusory potency of the Lord. We never see this benevolent form. We never see anything which is the Virat Swarup also, which Krishna himself said that I don't show that form to anybody. So let us eliminate that form. Even the two-arm or the four-arm form is not visible to normal human beings. The reason is pretty simple. Human beings are outward moving. They are driven by their passions. They are driven by their senses, their mind, their bodies. And because everybody is driven by their own desires, mind, body, so everything which is outwardly moving. Their eyes are observing things and they are moving outwards. They hear certain things, they move outwards. Outwards in the sense they get attracted towards what is being said. Do you understand? If there is a very beautiful object in front of you. Now imagine, just a few days ago there was this interview which created so much of a furor in the press, in the social media and everywhere. It was about the Duchess who had gone to America, and she was talking on the Oprah Winfrey show. Now, at that point in time, she was talking about a lot of things. But what did people observe? Not at the interview, at other places. When she said that she has not gone anywhere because her passport was confiscated, they observed that no, she had gone to this country, that country, that country, that country. They named 10 countries. And many a time she had traveled alone also. Naturally, even if you are a royalty, you still need a passport to travel to other countries. And this lady is an ordinary American lady who got married to the royalty. She's just an ordinary American lady who got married to a royalty. You think the passport control office is not going to ask her for a passport? They will. So that was one thing. Second thing, she said that she doesn't have anything given by those people, or the royal household. But she was wearing the ring given, which belonged to her mother-in-law who passed away. Right? The ring was there, and so many other things. People have the tendency of watching all these things. You may think that nobody is observing, but people have this tendency of taking out the smallest of the mistakes of other people. Have you observed that? Many a times I am brought to the notice that, oh, this is what happened. Somebody is wearing a particular sari, the other person will say, oh, this is the sari you bought at this place. Somebody wears a earring or some such thing, they observe. So people have the tendency of watching things with their eyes. They don't see the Krishna inside. They see this frivolous world outside. And they will hear all the wrong stuff. This one said like this about me, that one said like that. We get carried away. Oh, this person was praising me. They will never say they are praising me. Oh, they said, you were doing a very good talk. You did like this. I'm not praising myself, but this is what it is. They said these words. Actually, you are praising yourself. You are moving outwards. Human beings have a tendency of seeing, hearing, smelling, and talking too much. Instead of focusing on the spiritual, they love to focus outwards. So tell me, every individual is so conceited, self-conceited, full of ego, arrogance, and outward movement. Where is the time to see the four-armed form of Krishna? Nobody has the time to see. And do you really think Krishna will want to show these people the form? So only a very narrow-minded perspective of your own life is visible. Go and see yourself in the mirror. Do you find even an ounce of godliness in you? There is nothing. Nothing at all. And this is what the world is come to. So the truth about this sentence is, everybody wants to see something or the other which is different. It is their desire, the incessant desire that a human being holds in their heart. They don't have that desire to be with Krishna. Krishna means going inwards. Not watching things, pointing mistakes, getting into scraps, fights, trying to hear all the nonsensical stuff, getting into all kinds of, situations, mind talk. Mind talks too much, blah, 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 it talks. And a person gets carried away in the mind talk. The mind is going to give you stories. It is not easy. Human beings do not have that much amount of curiosity about finding this Krishna for themselves. And they will never find. Because in today's day and age, nobody is qualified to see even the four-armed form of Krishna. The qualification has gone out of this age. You can only see your own face in the mirror. It's a very rare phenomena that somebody sees a form of the divine. Somebody can see. But you need to have a purity. And the form to persist in you, you need to continue in you. Not that just one glimpse and all that. That could be something different. But to have that persistently, you need to have the knowledge of the divine. You have to be in love with Krishna 24/7. It is said that when you live in the self, you are lost in the self. That is the time you are with Krishna. So, Sanjaya said, having spoken thus to Arjuna, Bhagwan Vasudeva again revealed to him his own four-armed form. And then, assuming a genial form, the high-souled Shri Krishna consoled the frightened Arjuna. So he has to come back to the four-armed form and then to the normal form. Normal form as a normal human being. It's the same thing which Krishna did with all other people as well. You may be amazed to know, with Radharani he did that. Radha is his own form, you know that, isn't it? You know it very well. Radharani is his own extension. It's his own form. But Radharani was one day carrying Krishna. And that was because his father, it was raining. So the father said, can you please take my son, a tiny baby, and take him home and give it to his mother. So Radharani held the child in the arms and covered him with the ghungat of hers. The ghungat means that the veil that they wear, she covered it. And she was running towards the house in Vrindavan. Suddenly in the middle of the road, she found that there was no child over there. And instead of the child holding her like this, there was a fully grown Krishna as a man, as a fully grown person, holding her in his arms. And when this was happening, she was amazed. She realized who she is. And at that time, Brahmadev comes over there. Brahmaji comes over there. So Krishna tells her that we are married in the Goloka. And here Brahmaji will do a small ceremony so that you will be married to me. So in that few moments, he gives her the entire glimpse of the Golok Vrindavana plus going around Krishna. They are married. All right? And Brahmaji blesses them and goes away. Krishna cannot continue with this thing. In the snap of a finger, he is again become a child in the arms of Radharani. And she totally forgets this whole episode. Now for her, Abhimanyu Ghosh is her husband, not Krishna. This is a small baby she was carrying, trying to save him from the rain. And then she carries the baby and gives it to her mother, his mother, and says, "Here, take your baby, Krishna, take him." And she was totally put in a state of illusion. So you think Krishna cannot put people in illusion? It requires extreme faith to believe in Krishna. That is why nobody on this planet Earth has got the right to see even the four-armed form of his. It is impossible. And this is what he is going to tell us. So we are now doing chapter 11, verse 51. This is the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna said, "Krishna, seeing the gentle human form of yours, I have regained my composure and am my own self again." So Arjuna gathers himself up and says, "Yes, now I am back to my normal state. That form of yours, which was the Virat Swarup, oh my goodness, it was a terrible form, and thank you very much for taking that form away. Now I can see this four-armed form, which is a benevolent, a good form of yours." So we move to the next verse. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita Chapter 11, verse 52. Sri Bhagavan said, "This form of mine, which you have just seen, is exceedingly difficult to behold. Even the gods are always eager to see this form." Not that Virat Swarup, but the four-armed form which Arjuna saw just for a few moments. Krishna is telling Arjuna about that form. He says, that form of mine, this four-armed form of mine, which you just saw, is very difficult to behold. It is not easy to behold that form. That is the most benevolent form. That is the form by means of which I create this whole universe. I sleep under the Adishesh, on the ocean of milk. That is what he does. It is not easy to see that form of his. So, it is exceedingly difficult to behold. Even the gods are always eager to see this form. Even Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, they themselves are not able to see that form of mine. What does that tell you? Though Krishna is the father of every form in this universe, but to see Krishna in the four-armed form is not easy. The other form was illusory form created by his Yoga Maya. The previous form, which was the multifaceted, 1,000 arms and so many things, that Virat Swarup was nothing but Maya's creation. Just to satisfy Arjuna. He wanted to see a massive, humongous form. Everything coming in, going out, eating everybody up. And then the whole world is getting destroyed. That is the form he saw. But after he requests for this four-armed form, Krishna shows him a glimpse of this four-armed form only. Just a small glimpse. And that is the reason why he says it is difficult to behold. The terms itself will tell you. To keep that form in front of you consistently is not possible. It is impossible to see the four-armed form of Shri Krishna. Impossible. So even the gods are telling me, I want to see that form. Very rarely will Krishna allow even the gods to test that form. Otherwise they taste that form. Otherwise he doesn't show. We go to the next verse. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita Chapter 11, verse 53. Neither by study of the Vedas, nor by penance, nor by charity, nor even by rituals I can be seen in this four-armed form that you have seen me in. You can do whatever you feel like. You can go study the Vedas, you can do enough penances, you can go and do charity, you can give your whole life away as charity, you can do all kinds of rituals, rites, religious observances. But to see me in that four-arm form, I will never show it to anybody. No. Glimpse, yes, very rarely a glimpse is given. Very rarely to even the gods. Just a tiny glimpse is given. But to behold it, to hold it in front of you and bow down to it and feel happy about that form and be very mighty pleased about it, it is not possible. Why? Again, the question may arise, why? Why is it not possible? It is not possible because human beings, which Arjuna is also a human being, is not having that kind of a faith. It has to be absolute faith. You cannot even doubt Krishna for even a moment, not even one word or one dot. The belief in Krishna and the faith in him has to be absolute. You cannot say that, oh, I will have. No, will have. Have right now, here and now. And that is the reason why you can study the Vedas, you can do penances, you can do austerities, you can do puja, part, anything. But that four-arm form is not going to be visible to you at all. So Krishna is telling him, so don't even think about seeing that form. Okay, again. So we move to the next verse. We are doing chapter 11, Bhagavad Gita, verse 54. Through single-minded devotion, however, I can be seen in this form, nay, known in the essence and even entered into, O valiant Arjuna. This is a verse that you need to understand. Didn't I tell you just now that you got to have that absolute faith in him? Your devotion has to be the highest. What does single-minded devotion mean? If you have single-minded devotion, why are you bothered about what other people do? You are taking your thali to the Divine Lord, whatever little that you are offering. Why are you looking at other people, what they are doing? Your focus has to be only one, Krishna, 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 Krishna. Why are you bothered about other people? Why are you bothered? Oh, what will he say? What will he do? I am taking only one leaf for him. I am taking only one flower for him. I can be like this. I can. The thought keeps on coming. Your mind comes here. And your mind comes, there is no single-pointed devotion. There is no devotion at all. If your mind appears and you think questions are coming up and doubts especially, even an iota of doubt appearing in your mind tells you that you don't have single-pointed devotion. Do you think it is easy to have single-pointed devotion? You are so self-centered. You're bothered about your own self. I have to be like this, I have to be like that. This one said that one said that. I am like this, I am like that. Everybody is so self-centered. Egoistic to the core. You cannot have ego, you cannot have this kind of an attitude. Single-pointed devotion means there is nobody appearing in your vicinity. Nothing appears except Krishna, 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 Krishna. So here, Krishna is giving his promise to you all. Through single-minded devotion, this absolute devotion, I can be seen in this form. You can see me in this form only. Just not see, but know in essence, what is this form? I have given an entire satsang based on that form when I was doing the Srimad Bhagavatam. That four-arm form and then the two-arm form are two separate entities. This particular form that we are talking about can be only visible to the highest of the devotees. And you have to cross that level of single pointedness. You have to be single pointedly devoted to him. It's only then you will know the essence and you can enter that form. Enter that form means go inwards. The door of that particular form opens up like this. These are 4 petals. They open up and you can enter inside. Then it is visible for you. But till that point in time, nothing is there. Alright, so now we will do verse 55. We are doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita Chapter 11, verse 55. Arjuna, he who performs all his duties for my sake, depends on me, is devoted to me, has no attachments, and is free from malice towards all beings, reaches me. This is one of the most profound lines, completely, the totality of Bhagavad Gita is in this line only. You will be amazed to know the entire Bhagavad Gita is summed up in this line. He is telling Arjuna, you have to perform all your duties. You may be devoted to me, but duties have to be performed. You cannot say that, oh, I am so much in love with you, I want to be at your feet. Krishna says, okay, you can be at my feet. Even the sand is at my feet. Even my chappals are at my feet. Doesn't make them great. Only when you do the duty that you have been set up in this world for. Why are you here? I brought you here in this world for a specific purpose. Are you doing your duty? You give me 1,001 reasons why you cannot do your duty. You have to perform every duty that I have given to you. Those duties have to be performed, and they have to be performed for my sake. That means because I am the one who has sent you in this world to do those swadharma, you better do it for me only. Think about it. You, human beings in every sphere, are just servants of their own people. Like say for example, you are working for a company, you are a servant of that company, you are working in that company because you get money. Think about it. You are pandering to your wife or husband because they are going to be living with you. You pander towards your children. All these things you do because you have a very, very narrow purpose in your life. But the purpose should be me, Krishna. Do you get the point? You are serving me. You have to be devoted to me and should have no attachments whatsoever. And you should not have any malice towards anybody. You cannot say, oh, this person is like that person is like that. You think you are allowed to say those words? The moment you have malice towards anybody in this world, even a single person, that person may be the biggest villain on earth, the person may be God knows what. And if you show even an iota of malice towards anybody, you can never find me. Did I not tell you, you want to be at my feet? I will allow you to be at my feet. You can just be a small grain of sand, or you can just be my, slipper, or whatever that needs to be. But you will still not know me in essence. That is the previous verse which he says. You can never know Krishna in the essence if you do not have love and understanding for everybody in this world. This is verse 55. I have not ended the verse. I will start tomorrow from this verse and give you the whole thing once again. Because this verse is very important for everybody. Do you really want to be with Krishna? Then you have to do these things. Otherwise, there is no choice, no chance for you to be with Him. So we will stop at verse 54. 55 we will do once again. Tomorrow when we start once again. See you all. You have a great evening. Take care. Bye.